Yesterday, I was watching Bloomberg, and there was a venture fund president being interviewed about some of his investments. And some of his investments are Airbnb and Uber. And a conversation was struck up by the person at Bloomberg about Uber and some of the things that they were challenged by. And they got into a pretty deep discussion about workplace culture. Now, while this gentleman, Jim Coulter, did an awesome job in the interview, and it was fantastic, I think he said all the right things for what it's worth. It was interesting. He said, yeah, we're really working on the culture. We're working on our values. We're working on our mission. And I think when people talk about workplace cultures, I think we have to be very careful to not simplify it. So he was alluding to one of the executives making a comment about women at one of their meetings that was ultimately videotaped. And he said the comments were inappropriate, they were unprofessional, they were uncalled for. Now, why did that occur? See, I think something different happens in workplace cultures. I don't think a workplace culture is just our mission statement, our values, our principles. A workplace culture is our ability to have interactions and conversations. And what accompanies that is our ability to be socially aware and emotionally intelligent. Now, I don't think there was a mission statement, a set of values, a set of principles that was going to prevent that Uber executive from making those comments. So what we have to look at is our workplace cultures are really a byproduct of conversations that go on in the organization. Let me give you an example. So let's say we call someone into our office and we say, Cindy, I need to see you in my office right away. What's Cindy's first impression? Do you know when I ask that question when I do public speaking or webcast, do you know I've never had anyone say, oh, good, the promotion's here? What they typically say is, geez, what did I do wrong? So here's the funny thing. Why is that? Because that's what occurs. So what happens is we've bred that mentality. Now guess what happens? Cindy goes on coffee break, sees two other people that she's friends with in the cafeteria, and they ask, how's your day? She then starts to tell those two employees. Now that becomes commiserating time. Those two employees say what? You know what my boss said to me last month? And it becomes a feeding frenzy of why maybe we're not such good bosses. I'm not so sure that's fair or unfair, but that's human reaction. Now, how do we counter that? Let's think about calling people into the office for the good stuff. See, if we leverage strengths, and I love the Gallup organization and some of their research, they report if we leverage people's strengths in our interactions, people will engage 8 times more than when we only give constructive feedback. Number 2, send a handwritten note home telling someone where maybe you didn't have enough time to spend with them, hey, you're doing a great job. I just wanted to commend you. I love the projects you're on. People are really reacting positively to you. Then guess what happens? That employee opens it up in front of who? The family. Now you've got some partners in coaching. Third, put a note on their desk when they're at coffee break. By the way, saw the work you're doing this morning. Keep it up. I love your effort and your attitude. Sign it anonymous. What that does is it conditions behaviors. See, here's the funny thing. When we only give constructive feedback, when we only have outbursts and maybe are not socially aware or emotionally intelligent to realize people's perceptions, what we've done is we've taken risks sometimes when we don't know it. But if we train managers on strengths, how to have positive interactions, dare I say, how to handle conflict with a smile and an opportunistic view, those are really cool things to do. So remember, workplace cultures are not these mission statements and these things that we globally change and we put a blanket over. A workplace culture is a collection and set of interactions and conversations.